almost half the Cedar Fair dry amusement parks didn't open for the 2020 season. But with summer coming to a close, I thought it'd be a good time to try to predict what these parks may add for the 2021 and 2022 seasons. Let me preface this by saying that I have no inside information and this is purely speculation from the park's tendencies and the little snippets of information that are publicly available. With that being said, let's start with Dorney Park. Dorney Park is delaying their Seaside Splashworks water play structure until 2021, and this was slated to be their first new addition outside of some flat rides in the past 5 years. Now, what else do I think they'll add? In 2022, I think they'll get the Gravity Group wooden shuttle coaster that's been strongly rumored. Way back in April, there was a proposal prepared for the town suggesting a wooden shuttle coaster that stood roughly 106 feet tall. This coaster would have gone the plot of land used by Stinger, and unfortunately it was also going to lead to the removal of Possessed, their Intimate Impulse coaster. Now, shortly after these plans were discovered, they were withdrawn, but I think it'll return after the 2021 season and lead to this ride being installed for the 2022 season. This Woody is supposed to look like ZDT's Switchback, and it should be a really fun ride for the park. Moving on to King's Dominion, Coconut Shores and Lighthouse Landing water play structure were delayed until the 2021 season. There have been strong rumors suggesting the park is getting an S&S free spin, and that would be a really marketable addition for the park. It's rumored to go on the plot of land used by the Crypt top spin that was removed. Now, I know fans of this park want the replacement for Volcano, and I think that'll come, but I think it's further down the line. The early rumor was a B&M wing coaster, and that would be an excellent fit for the park. Moving on to Carowinds, Boogie Board Racer was postponed until 2021. And recently, the park has teased a photo of their old Hillbilly Jalopies antique car ride on their social media page. So with that, I think this park may do what Kings Island did and open a new antique car ride, possibly in the plot of land used by Dinosaurs Alive. Now, what I would love to see would be RMC Hurler, but I don't think that'll be until 2023 at the earliest. Moving on to Michigan's Adventure, Camp Snoopy was postponed until 2021, and this was going to be their first real addition in quite some time. The park hasn't gotten a roller coaster since 2008, and that was a relocated Thunderhawk, a Vekoma SLC from Geauga Lake. Now, remember how Dorney Park is removed and possessed? I think it would be a great fit for Michigan's Adventure as they don't have a launch coaster, and they haven't gotten anything major on the dry side in quite some time. I think that Dorney Park may remove Possessed for the 2021 season and then reinstall it at Michigan's Adventure for the 2022 season. Moving on to Cedar Point, Snake River Expedition was postponed until 2021. And there have been markings seen by the antique car ride recently. Now, my heart wants it to be the first 500-foot tall roller coaster because Cedar Point has a history of breaking the 200, 300, and 400-foot barriers. My dream would be for this coaster to stretch all the way back to Lighthouse Point. But my brain says it'll be something more economical, and I think there are 3 possibilities that make sense. The first would be a modern wood coaster, something from GCI considering the chain's tendency to work with them. The second would be a record-breaking flying coaster. But the catch here is that this would be the first time Cedar Fair has bought a flying coaster. The third would be trying to set the North American inversion record, as the chain has recently shown that they'll work with Gerstlauer with hang time. Now, I think the latter one would be a particularly shrewd move because Kennywood currently has the North American inversion record, and they share some of the same market as Cedar Point. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to get a coaster for 2022, given those markings by the antique car ride, and any of those 3 possibilities would make sense. And if I were to put it down now, because Cedar Point loves their records, I will guess they'll build something that breaks the inversion record in North America. Moving on to Kings Island, they actually opened their new for 2020 edition in Orion. Now, what I want to have eventually is a vortex replacement, and something like Copperhead Strike would be a great fit, but I don't see that happening in the next 2 years. Until then, the midway down by Windseeker is sort of a dead end. What I would love to see them do is to reuse the old Action Theater for some sort of dark ride like a Plants vs. Zombies or Mass Effect ride. That would help get some attention down that side of the park again. And I know there have been some recent construction markings seen around the park, but I believe that's for a new water main, and that's completely unrelated to a new ride at this time. Moving on to Valley Fair, I would love to see a new coaster because this park really is due for one. I'd specifically love to see an RMC Raptor or an inversion-based coaster like a Gerstlauer Infinity. However, the park has been doing a lot of work in the back section of the park, and Excalibur is perpetually rumored to be removed. And what borders Excalibur? Their water park. So I think when the park decides to expand, possibly in 2022, it'll be for the water park. And one missing slide type that they don't have is a mat racing water slide. And looking at how many of these models Cedar Fair was looking to add for the 2020 season, I think this is a reasonable guess what they might add. Worlds of Fun was one of those parks that was supposed to get a mat racing water slide in Riptide Raceway, and that's being delayed until 2021. And Worlds of Fun is one of the few parks in the chain that has quietly added something every single year over the past 5 years. And I think in 2022, it'll finally be their turn for a new roller coaster. An RMC Raptor would be a very economical addition and a big splash for this park. Moving on to Knott's Berry Farm, Knott's Berry Tales is going to reopen when the park does, whether that be in 2020 or 2021. And looking at the park's recent history, they've been alternating between adding new rides and revamping current attractions. Now, it's well known that this park is landlocked, and so I don't think there'll be a major coaster coming in 2022. What I think will happen in 2022 is a Mystery Lodge revamp. This show has been closed for quite some time, and I'd like to see them reuse that building for something. California's Great America originally presented an ambitious expansion plan. For 2020, the park was supposed to rebrand their water park as South Bay Shores and receive an all-new slide tower, but that's being postponed until 2021 now. What I want more than anything for this park is for them to finally receive that long-rumored B&M Hypercoaster that was originally part of their expansion plans. But the latest rumor I heard was that B&M Hyper was canceled or put on indefinite hold. And especially since the park didn't open for the 2020 season, I don't see that coming in 2021 or 2022. What I think they may get is another ride that was on that expansion proposal in an Intamin Impulse coaster. And the stats line up with Wicked Twister. So what I think may happen is Cedar Point will remove Wicked Twister and give it to California's Great America for the 2022 season. This would give Great America their first launch coaster, and it would be a nice addition for the area, even though Six Flags Discovery Kingdom has a much different impulse coaster. Moving on to Gilroy Gardens, I have no clue what this park may add. But two nice fits looking at their ride lineup would be either a family drop tower or a water slide tower to expand upon their offerings on the water side. I think the latter is much more marketable, but again, I have absolutely no reason to believe either of these may be coming in the near future. It's just wishful thinking. Last but not least, let's talk about Cedar Fair's foreign property in Canada's Wonderland. For 2020, the park was supposed to receive Mountain Bay Cliffs Cliff Jump and the Beagle Brigade Airfield Kiddie Ride, but both those attractions are likely postponed until 2021 now. And if you look back at this park's history, they have gotten something new every single year for quite some time. I would love to see them RMC one of their rough wooden coasters in Wild Beast or Mindbuster, but I can't see that happening in 2021 or 2022. Another good fit would be another nice inverting coaster to complement Yukon Striker, but again, that's something I do not see happening in the next 2 years as well. What I could see happening for 2022 would be another flat ride. And one thing that they're missing that a few of the Cedar Fair parks has is one of the Zamperla skater coasters, something like Pipe Scream at Cedar Point, and I think that'd be a nice fit. So those are my predictions for what I think the Cedar Fair parks will add for the 2021 and 2022 season. Most of the new for 2021 editions will be the 2020 attraction postponed a year, but for 2022 I could see some of these attractions come into fruition in the chain. What are your thoughts what the Cedar Fair parks may add in 2021 and 2022? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like and considered subscribing because there will be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for listening.